One day, they wrote a case which was a £50,000 mortgage, equity release mortgage, and they charged the client £15,000. I think people maybe don't look at the long-term result enough. With a lifetime mortgage, you maintain 100% ownership of your home, so it's the same in that respect. It's the same as like a normal mortgage. I think brokers need to help other brokers. Lifetime mortgages should be for people that don't have an income. People have more options than what they think they do. People need my help, and I'm just not going to give up.
Hello and welcome to the Money Honey Show with me, your guest, Rosalia. Well, your guest? No, I'm the host. I'm your host, Rosalia Lazzarettilli. Gosh, sometimes I wish I was just a guest just to listen or be interviewed. But no, I love my job of interviewing wonderful guests on the show. Every week we release a gorgeous episode with a talented voice within our industry of the mortgage, property or finance space and or construction. So I have the honor and pleasure of interviewing some fabulous women on the show. Now today, this particular episode has a special feature around later life lending. Whether you do it and want to do more of it, or you're a mortgage advisor who doesn't do it, wants to partner with someone who does, or you want to introduce that into your business, but understanding the importance of later life lending, how to get into it, how to do more business in that, how to help your clients within that space. So we're going to ask all the questions to an expert who has been in the industry for 17 years as an advisor. She's not won one, not two, but multiple awards. She's won Best Broker for First-Time Buyers at the British Mortgage Awards in 2018. She then went on to specialise in mortgages for the self-employed. Most recently, she's been focusing on later life lending, and she has had a passion for this for a very, very long time, to lending over 50s, and then won Best Broker title at the BMAs again, and most recently won a title for later life lending at the Women's Recognition Awards, which is where I think I was at and spotted her. And then I said to my team, we've got to get her on the show. So I am very honoured to introduce to you today Louise Stevens from Coraco. How are you, Louise?
Hiya, I'm good, thank you. Are you okay?
Good. I'm glad to hear it. And as we're recording this, it's the 1st of December and we're both not feeling very Christmassy at all. In fact, you've got a very Wednesday Addams look about you today, which I absolutely love, for anyone watching on video. But for those just tuning in, introduce yourself, Louise. Who are you and what do you do?
Yeah, so, well, I think you mentioned most of it. I'm Louise, and I'm Coraco's later life mortgage specialist. So, I help people sort of over the age of 50, 55. I'd say probably my average clients are sort of early 60s, late 60s. Anyone that's kind of nearing retirement or into retirement. Helping them get mortgages, basically.
Now, one does not wake up in the morning and think, do you know what? I'm going to help someone who's 55 get a mortgage, right? After 17 years experience within the finance industry, what pulled you towards later life lending in particular?
So I worked for a company a few years ago, specialising in mortgages for self-employed, and we also had a website which was mortgages for older borrowers. And there was an equity release specialist there in the office, and all my clients that I dealt with, they still wanted to deal with me. So when I had a mortgage application that I couldn't help them with on a conventional mortgage, I would sort of buddy up with Paul, and then we would do the application. But I would, I went out to the clients' houses, and I just really enjoyed like helping these people. Like, they're people that really need your help. And then I tried to get into it for a few years, and I just kind of getting knocked back by business leaders, really, that wanted to do the business themselves. And it's a very, very high risk area. And so, they just didn't want to hand that over to me. And then yes, I kind of had to fight and go and get all my awards and everything. But yeah, just I really enjoy those clients, and I just love helping people like that really need your help.
So I didn't know this, that you were held back. You know, you had such a passion for later life lending. You're saying that perhaps your previous like leaders were not allowing you to step into this space. Was there any feedback as to why they weren't letting you do it?
It wasn't really feedback. One company said I could do it, and then within a week, they said they just turned around. One of the managers at the time in the office just turned around and said, "You know that they're not gonna, let you do this." It was almost like a ploy to kind of like get me to work there. And then I remember within a couple of weeks, they did. I'm trying not to mention any names because
You don't want to. No, we don't
yeah.
want them to mention you, but we do have to raise the awareness of how you brilliantly fought this. What happened, and how did you get over that? Because some people might stop to be like, "Oh well, they're not letting me do it."
Yeah, exactly. So, and then one day, they wrote a case which was a £50,000 mortgage, equity release mortgage, and they charged the client £15,000. And it just from that point, um, it just really hit a nerve with me, and I was just so determined. I was like, people need my help, and I'm just not going to give up. So yes, I went and did all my exams and everything by myself, and just really, really pushed for it. And when I wanted to come back to Coraco, I said to Monty when he called and said, oh, we've got, do you want to come back? I said, I'll only come back if you let me set up Coraco lifetime. So, and yeah, he open with open arms, was happy to sort of take me back. But yeah, it was.
I love Monty. Monty, shout out to you, mate. Like they both win because you Monty's got a great asset having you, award-winning advisor, and then obviously Coraco also being a very reputable standout brokerage out there. You know, that's a great match.
Yeah, it's I'm very, very lucky with the platform that I've got. And it is a high risk area. So I guess, to anyone that's trying to get into it, like there are a lot of a lot of things to be mindful of. And there are a lot of risks, but it shouldn't stop anyone from wanting to do it. Like it is a growing market. Like people do need people, like they need people that genuinely care to help them, and yeah, to work alongside. Like when I first started back at Coraco, whilst I was going through my sort of training, I wasn't allowed to do like equity release cases as such. So the cases that I was specialising in later life and that I couldn't do, I then passed to, and I worked with another guy, Andrew Teeman, from Mortgage Advice Bureau as well, and I worked alongside him. So I kind of did the same with him as I did with the other company, and I sat in on his meetings. So we worked together as a team, and you just learn, all the risks. But yeah, there's a lot of room for people to grow in this space. But yeah, it is high risk, and companies do like to say hold it back, for different reasons that they don't want everybody to do it. But I think if you're really passionate about it, then if you really care and you're passionate about it, then go for it.
I'm so glad you didn't give up. And I really hope that perhaps just one person listening to this is thinking, why did I put it to one side? Why did I give up? This is my sign to pick it back up again and to not let any hurdles or barriers just stop me. And from the hurdles and barriers, you way over, leaped all over everything. You smashed right through those barriers and became a multi-award winning advisor. Can you tell us a little bit about your journey to applying to these awards? What was the feeling? How did you do it? And what do you attribute your wins to?
So um, well, first of all, I got put forward. I never, ever in a million years thought I would be in a situation so early on in my later life career to actually have the opportunity to be put forward for an award. So when they said to me, we want to put you forward for this award, I was like, oh, it's too soon. It's too soon. And they were like, it's not. Like, I don't think you realize what you have that's kind of different to what other people have. And one of that is sort of being a hybrid advisor. So not many advisors do conventional mortgages and equity release. They either do one or the other. But there's a big thing with the FCA where they want to join that up, and they want more people to be able to do both to give the right advice. So I think that sort of certainly helped. But yeah, within kind of like my testimonial, it was I had I guess, yeah, the holistic advice, which is different. There's lots of things that I work on like outside of later life. So I work with sort of clients and other colleagues around sort of neurodiversity. So I was diagnosed with ADHD like quite a few years ago now. So I've been on like that journey with sort of progression, and I've then kind of took all of that to help other people. And then what else was in my testimonial? I think just I think like all my reviews, like Google reviews, everything like that. I had really really good reviews that I could show, like client testimonials and things like that as well. And like some really good, I'm like really persistent. So some cases that maybe shouldn't have got through that I've managed to get through. Um, like the BDMs, like business development managers, I have a really, really, really good relationship with them. So that sort of always really helps as well. And I think
it's all about that, knowing your product and knowing your service, right?
exactly. Yeah. Because sometimes it doesn't fit on the high street, like the products don't fit with the lenders, and you have to speak to the lender and say, "Look, this doesn't fit. Like you wouldn't normally do this, but they've been paying it. So look, can you take a view on it?" And lenders do that. So yeah, it is about understanding the lenders as well. So yeah, I think just give us a fresh approach, really.
Yeah, and you are definitely showing that. But what is the misconception then with later life lending or lifetime mortgages? What do you think is most often perceived as one thing, but actually it's not the right perception of it?
Yeah, so a lot of people think that you take a lifetime mortgage and that's it. Your house is gone. Like, you lose all the equity that you've built up. You're not going to be able to leave your children anything. The bank take your money. You might lose your house. So there are quite a few misconceptions. Perhaps based on how it was sold previously and some of the products that were sold previously. So with later life, or with a lifetime mortgage, you maintain 100% ownership of your home. So it's the same in that respect. It's the same as a normal mortgage. There's just no end date. So any of the equity that's left over in your home, your beneficiaries, your children will actually get. You have to be able to make, or the Equity Release Council, one of their standards is that you have to be able to make overpayments, so you can actually service interest. So some people think that because you're not paying the interest, that the mortgage is increasing over time and it's just going to keep increasing. But even if you can afford half of that interest payment and you can pay some of the interest, you can still make payments. So yeah, I think sort of from a client perspective, things have changed massively.
And why would a mortgage broker then not want to do this? Like, why have people been shying away from doing later life lending and choose to stay clear of it?
I think the risks involved, so it is like really, really high risk because you have to deal with vulnerable clients, and most of your clients are vulnerable, and you've got to really tread carefully and you've got to understand it. So a lot of people go into later life because they think they think it's good money, and that's not the right reason. Like if you're going in it from the right for money, it's not that. Like it's very hard work and long. Like you have to nurture those clients, you have to be very patient. You can't push people. People could take a year to 2 years to decide what to do. It's like ultimately that's the last mortgage decision of their life. And it's just very sensitive as well, and you really have to understand like vulnerability, coercion. It is really complex. Like it is like you do have to be very careful, but I think specializing in later life in general is a good thing to do. Like whether I think more people should understand the risks even with a conventional mortgage for an older person. I don't think there's any different between taking apart from compound interest, there's still the same risks for a conventional mortgage that I think get overlooked on a normal mortgage for an older person. So I think actually what people should be doing in conventional is the same. So I don't think the risks should necessarily put people off, because that should be something that they should be considering more about.
Yeah, if you're an advisor, you should be you should have that attitude of, across all products and all services, not just later life. You're still giving
Yeah.
clients that financial advice, and it's their livelihoods, it's their savings, it's the money. So it absolutely, um, yeah, it's absolutely right to have that attitude across the whole service. Um, and when do you think later life lending is absolutely not right? I mean, we know all the reasons that it's good. And just, if you want to remind us for when is it good and when is it not the right option?
So you have, I guess the main thing really is so individual. Like you have so many products now on, with a conventional mortgage. So, if someone can afford to make payments and they want to make payments, then really you should be trying to get them a conventional mortgage. Um, I think really it's not the right option if somebody wants to make payments and they've got that income, because you have so many lenders with much cheaper rates. Even people, so even retirement interest only mortgages, I see a lot of people in one of the groups that I'm in, like Facebook groups, that straight away as soon as someone's a bit older, they say, "Oh, retirement interest only," and I'm like, but why do you jump straight to that? Because there's other mortgage lenders with cheaper interest rates, and it doesn't have to be retirement interest only. You've got like Darlington, Saffron, like Suffolk. You've got so many lenders who will do just a normal mortgage. It doesn't need to be retirement interest only or a lifetime mortgage. Really, lifetime mortgages should be for people that don't have an income, or really they don't want, like, maybe they don't have beneficiaries, or and they don't want to, they really, really, for some reason or another, don't want to use any of that income. Um, but yeah, really, really, it's not right. You've got to think about care fees. Like, it could be easy to go onto a retirement interest only mortgage or a lifetime mortgage early, but just because because it's cheap, but with the payments, you don't have to make payments, or with a retirement interest only, they're only paying interest. But actually, like, that person they might be taking money now for a holiday, but do they want more holidays in the future? Do they want money for care fees in the future? So I think people maybe don't look at the long term result enough when you have a retirement interest. When you have a lifetime mortgage, you're then minimizing your options in the future when you actually might really need that money.
I honestly, yeah, I'm listening with a lot of passion as well, because you're saying, you're all jumping to conclusion, you're jumping to that advice, and actually you're not looking at the bigger landscape of, all the lenders that are available and the different services that are available to that client. You're just assuming age, okay, brilliant, later life lending immediately, which is where the the misadvice is happening. It's not, that's why it becomes a high risk case, because you perhaps have led the client down a path where there would have been other options, and that's where your relationships with your lenders and BDMs comes into into play, right? Doesn't it? Because you know what these lenders are doing. So let's look at that as a question then. If brokers want to introduce later life lending, but they are stuck or at capacity, or they've got that they haven't got that risk appetite, but they do want to serve their customers better. They do want to do better for their customers. They do want to give them a better service. What can brokers do about their education? Where can they go for it? Where is the later life lending space? What is that giving to them? Is there training? Is there material out there? What can we do about that?
Um, I think training, across the mortgage industry on how to place cases is just lacking anyway. Like, these groups are really good in terms of like the Facebook groups and things, and putting out like where what lender will do this. But um I think brokers need to help other brokers. So, if you're a specialist in an area, I've got I used to specialize in self-employed. I know I met someone recently that specializes in mortgages for the film industry. I think like having like a specialist subject, I think like that you can specialize it, and makes you good, and it makes you stand out like as a broker. But I think
Yeah.
brokers need to like help each other. Like, there's enough business for all of us. Like, I'm happy to help anybody. They don't have to work for Coraco. Like, I want everyone to do well. Like, if we all do well, it's good.
We all do well. If we all do well, we all do well. And that is literally it. Yeah.
Exactly. Like, our only competition is like the direct route, right? So if people don't trust advisors and they go direct, like that is our competition. Like, we want brokers to stay there, and I think that you just need to find an advisor that will work with you and help you, because pass it over. Like, there needs to be a line where you think, right, I can't do this. It's too tough. It's been sitting on my desk for 2 days. Like, that's too long. Like, the clients can't wait. Just pass it over. Like, if you don't want to learn about it, you need to just get it off your desk. But don't say, I can't help you. Like, work with other people and learn from them. I think the only way that you learn is by trying to do it yourself, but then working with another advisor. Like, if you want to learn, you need to ask questions. Don't just say, take on the list someone's put, oh, Newcastle will do this. You just say, okay, well, what other lenders? Why will they do that? What's the difference? Like, ask why. Like, when you call the lender and you ask a criteria question, ask a few other questions that's not related to that case, like around that same subject, so that you build up your knowledge a lot quicker. Like I usually ask, like, I never ring a lender very often for one question. Like,
Oh, God, what a waste of time.
yeah.
All that time on hold for just one question.
Yeah, like, you can always ask and say, okay, well, if it was this, would you do that? And then make a note of it. And then next time, if you get a different scenario that's not that, oh, okay, Newcastle wouldn't do my other one, but they would do this one, they said. But yeah, I think, yeah, you just, it's difficult to learn everything. Like, I'm still learning. Like, no one will ever know all of the criteria for all the lenders. It's changing.
Yeah,
All
exactly. Yeah. That I love your thirst for knowledge and your appetite for education and developing yourself. That's really, really special to see because, I always just say be 1% better each day. Now, let's look at the topic around the fact that no, most people who do go for later life type of products are often going through like life-changing events. It might be a bereavement or it might be a divorce or other unexpected scenarios. They might be, downsizing or going into a care home or something like that. And these events are not as fun as like, I'm a first time buyer getting on the property ladder and it's exciting and I've got a new lease of life. It's quite heavy hitting stuff, right? So how are you able to handle that emotionally and how are you able to connect with these scenarios?
Yeah, so, well, most of the scenarios I've actually kind of been through myself. So I think I have, quite good, like, I can empathize with people. So, yeah, I mean, I guess to give you a bit of a timeline. So my parents, when I was younger, like, my parents separated and divorced, and I lived with my dad. Like, I grew up, like, he was like a single parent, but actually I lived with my grandparents because my dad worked, so he was busy. So my grandparents, we had like a pub and a hairdressers, like, they had like a successful business, but then they went through like bankruptcy. And they lost everything, like, through no fault of their own. And so, like, I always remember, like, they had to go into rented, and I always remember, like, all of their, like, money worries. And then, my one of my grandmas was deaf. She was fully deaf, from the age of 20. then both my other grandma, she had the one I lived with, she had severe anxiety and she wouldn't leave the house. And then both of my grandparents had cancer, and then they both of them suffered dementia. Um, and then so after that, I sort of discovered like grief and loss when my grandparents like passed away. Obviously, I'd been living with them like all of my life. Um, a good friend of mine committed suicide. I got married and I've been divorced. Um, Through my divorce, I had to go into a debt management plan, like as a result of all the costs and everything like that. And then, yeah, 3 years ago, I got diagnosed with ADHD. So I think all of like everything that my clients go through, although everybody feels things a lot differently and everybody copes a lot differently, I've been through a lot of that and I've dealt with it, like, probably on a different level, but I've dealt with all of that. So I think, yeah, I think it's really important to like not, sympathize or anything, but just to empathize, like to put yourself in that client's situation. And it's just, as I say, it's so rewarding, like actually helping them. Like when somebody's been declined by the bank or another broker, and then you can help them, you're like that shining light. It's like you're the one thing right now that actually like puts a smile on their face. It's really rewarding.
Oh, that's so nice. That is obviously not what you've been through. I can see you light up and I can see you really doing this job with heart and soul and your passion, and obviously every situation that you've been through um, has led you to where you are today. It's prepared you. You are resilient and award winning and strong because of it, because you have been through it yourself. So yeah, I wasn't expecting that answer at all, because I did not get this in your bio background. But obviously the marketer in me, I don't work for Coraco and you're not my client or anything. So, and this is unsolicited advice, you're not asking me for my advice on it. But like marketing is marketing and it's actually quite transactional and boring when it comes to it as an industry. But my whole mission with Manuka Media when I first started it, because I came from I don't know if you know me. I know Monty knows my journey a little bit, and I'm not sure how long you've been following me, but I used to be a BDM, exactly. And I used to be in your position as well, where I was in a brokerage and I was submitting cases to lenders and calling like, why'd you do that? And why'd you do that? And how comes would you do this case? Like sometimes I just couldn't be bothered to read like the USPs and the product sheet. I was like, Joe, I'm just going to call them because I cannot be bothered to read that. And then I would just talk through the case because that was just how I learned. But then I moved on from that to starting my own, well, to then working for a lender, and then got made redundant. And here I am with Manuka Media. But the whole premise behind everyone's like, why did you go from BDM to Manuka Media and running your own agency? And the whole mission was simple: to make property and money and finances like pensions, investments, to make that more human, more accessible, and more relatable. That's it, right? You want to call that social media, you want to call that marketing, you want to call that video content, whatever you're calling it, that's just the tactic. That's just the way in which we make property and finance more human, more relatable, and more accessible. Because, and this is why I said my little marketing head, I'm thinking, Louise should be famous on social media. Like, you should be the influencer. Like, not, we're talking about Botox and we talk about makeup on social media. That ain't sexy, right? That is not anywhere near as sexy as you transforming people's lives. You giving them the options that no one else did. You giving them that support and that emotional support during their most vulnerable times. That's what Manuka Media want to see more on the screen. Like when I scroll through the screen, I want to see Louise. I want to see Louise talking about that and publicizing that and making that more accessible and more relatable on social media. Because the more you do that, the more there's people out there that need you, but they don't know where you are. They don't know how to access you. So how are you flying that flag, Louise? Are you someone that puts themselves out there? Are you quite public online and social media? You putting that message out there?
I don't like I'm very open like with my life and my life story because I do think it's important. Like you say, I think with AI, people want real people. And I spoke listened to a chap recently. I think he was one of the founders of Go Compare, and he said that AI is not taking our jobs anytime soon um because actually people are losing faith in technology, and they're losing faith in everything online. He created a fake website using ChatGPT in literally like 8 minutes, and he launched that like in front of our own eyes. And so people want real people. So I've only just
Especially, by the way, when it comes, sorry to add in there, but especially when it comes to finance, like you're not going to go into some sort of AI random slick
yeah.
website that has no personable presence because these are your life savings. You're not going to just trust any old website.
You put in all your information in, and the website like might not even be real. Um, I've only just started like doing like social media. Like I don't really do that many videos. Like it's quite a lot of compliance. It's quite difficult in the mortgage world to get past compliance, especially later life. I've had like videos with compliance for a long time, like to get signed off. It's really difficult. I would like to do more videos. Like it's definitely something that I want to do. I love my little brand I've created. So Monty's given me like full reign over Coraco Lifetime. So like all the little things I'm doing is like my own colours, my own design. Like I'm doing all of that like bit by bit, but it takes forever. Like it just takes so long. So like yeah, I mean it is my plan next year to like try to get out on social media. And my one goal is to like spread awareness that people have more options than what they think they do. And like I went to a podcast recently, the live recording of the Barclays podcast, and I'll be honest, I sat there and I thought about a question I could say in front of everybody just to get a question in about later life, because I want to get that message out there to as many people as possible. However I possibly can get that message out. I was lucky enough to go on to Radio 4, which I think was one of the things, like Moneybox, which was one of the things that started and helped me at the beginning of the year, like with my awards and stuff. But yeah, it is really, really hard to get that message out there to so many people. And as advisors, like we just don't have time to do that. But you're right, like people want real people. And I think it's really important for people to understand that behind that mortgage advisor that you're dealing with, like that is just another person.
A human, yes, and that's why everyone that I work with, I get to, they think they're coming for just a social media post or a video content day, but actually what they end up getting off the back of it is mindset, that mindset approach to their business. A couple of my clients have also just gone on a health journey as well. I pushed them into that. I was like, you need to get your health in check, because like we're talking about social media and marketing your business and da 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 da, but your business relies on you being health and fit,
Yeah.
healthy and fit, and your team rely on you. And you need to get that together, because there's no point having a great profit and loss sheet if you are like, if your heart rate is depleting. Like that's not good for your family, that's for your clients, and that doesn't really embody the message of your brand, that you are here to help clients with their life-changing decisions. So it's all of it. And yeah, all I'm saying is that if don't wait for anyone to give you permission. Don't wait for anyone to, because we need you. We need more people like you online. We need to see your face. We need to see your passion, your enthusiasm um for such an important subject that um we just don't hear enough about. And going to get over the compliance and through it with flying colors. It will be you, Louise. And if I can, if I can help my clients do compliant content and it be engaging, I'm sure you can too, because you just need to know how to work with it. And compliance, they're not to stop. It's not there to stop you from doing the content. It's there to just keep you set out, right? So, no, you absolutely can do it. Now, as a final kind of topic, so this has been coming up a lot in the last few weeks, actually, about ADHD, if you don't mind me asking. Um, so many brokers and lenders are coming out announcing their ADHD. It wasn't
So creative.
yeah, right. So I want to ask you, as in, what
Yeah.
has held you back because you've got ADHD, but then what has actually been your superpower and propelled you forward? So, like, I'm trying to get, I know we're all on the spectrum in some way. Like, I feel like got like some attention deficiency sometimes, and then sometimes I'm super focused, but it's never been something that I've dealt with that I'm like, do you know what? I need to get this sorted and I need to get it diagnosed. I've just
Yeah.
never looked into it that way. But my clients will come to me and say, oh, people that are potentially interested in working with me, they're like, Ros, by the way, I've got ADHD. How can you work with me? And it's just so refreshing to be able to get that honesty so that I can help them be their best selves and give them the
Yeah.
knowledge. How has it held you back? And then B, how has it actually been your superpower? And because I want other people to hear this, because I know it will resonate.
Well, it's held me back with work because, first of all, I didn't know till like 3 years ago. So I went through like 15 years of my life getting told that I was lazy, I didn't want to do admin, and that my compliance was always, so my advice was always perfect. I never had complaints or anything like that. Especially, well, never had complaints, but around my advice, it was always really, really good. But I always used to get all the documents, but miss the documents off the file. Think in my head, I've put them on there. So I would spell names incorrectly, which luckily has never, like, it's always been flagged up. But because of, luckily, the companies that I worked for and the systems that I had, and I always worked for, like, I worked for like corporate companies like throughout the beginning of my career, so it set me up a really good structure. And I think that's really important, to have that structure and work for a company. You might hate the compliance, but you've just got to do it until it becomes ingrained into you, and like something will work. So there was a lot of good things that I learnt by being micromanaged. People hate being micromanaged, but I love it. Like, I have to be micromanaged. Like, it just doesn't, I want to be told what to do like every day, and you just can't get you can't take that as a negative. You need to embrace it and you need to learn from it. Like, people that are telling you what to do, as long as they understand. Obviously, the problem that I had and the difficulty that I had is that I didn't know. So, I was being compared to everybody else. I was working my socks off, like getting in the office at 6 a.m. and not leaving till, 9 or 10 o'clock in the evening. But doing the same amount of work. My conversion has always been like the top, like every company I've worked for, like even now with Later Life, I've got like, I'm like top conversion. Um, so I know that I can speak to people. I know people want to come back to me, and I know, complaints wise, I'm doing good. So yeah, for me, it's like what's held me back is definitely like the time it takes to do applications, to submit applications. It just takes so much longer to process anything. You have to, you forget what you've done like all the time. Like, I read back over my emails and they just don't make sense. But luckily my clients are fine with it, and never know. It's just, I don't know. Like, sometimes I read, yeah, I don't know how they even understood what I was saying sometimes when I read back my notes from, say, like 5 years ago. Um, but yeah, the things that has helped me the most is my creativity. So, and the fact I just don't give up. So I will not give up. Like, if I pick up that phone to a client, like, I will find a solution. And I wake up early in the morning, like really early, and I place most of my cases in the morning before the phone rings and before I have any emails. So, like, I'm most creative as soon as I wake up. So yeah, and then like that's when I'm like working on my cases, and I think the way that I think is different to other people. So I've managed to find solutions and, yeah, just not give up. I think that's definitely what's helped me. But I don't know if anyone's mentioned about access to work.
Yes, I have heard about this. But please do share for those people who haven't.
Yeah, so most people that I've spoken to, and I'm shouting about it from the rooftops, haven't heard about access to work. And it basically helps, working people that are trying their hardest to be on a level playing field. Like, it helps them with support. So I got a second computer screen. You can get things like, I've got a remarkable tablet. You have an assessment. They're so good. It like, they give you an assessment, so it's all based on your own, things. So, one of the business development managers at Atom Bank, he's happy for me to share. He's in his 60s, he'd just reached 60 at the time, actually. And I shared with him the link for Access to Work, and he came to me a year after and he said, like, "You've changed my life, like, from this link." So anyone that has, like, he's dyslexic. So anyone that is dyslexic or any disability that causes disability, like, do that application. It doesn't take that long. It's worth it. The assessment is really easy. Like, it's a phone call. Like, they just ask you what you struggle with every day, and then they give you, like, things like solutions. So I've got, like, Dragon software. So now my notes, I put a headset on and I speak, and I don't have to type my notes. It just writes it all for me, and that's straight into, like, the lenders applications, the systems, like our systems. If you got suit letters, you can type up all your suit letters, all your notes, but you just speak into it. There's Caption Ed I've got, which is like, you records all your calls and puts it into transcript. I mean, there's lots of AI tools now that do that sort of thing, but this is, like, really good. And it's obviously free. Yeah, like, you just get so much help, like, and support to help you just, you know, be as quick as everybody else that don't, that doesn't struggle. It's so good.
So is this you have to prove, obviously you have to like, do you get like a disability assessment or do you get a mental health assessment or do you self-diagnose or
No, you can't self-diagnose. So I had, again, a bit of a personal story. I thought I had, like, depression and I had an eating disorder. And then when I went to the doctors about that and all my things that I said, I was like, but I've never been able to read. Like, I've never read a book. Like, everything that I had, it was just worse at the time, and it was all to do with my hormones in the end. So when you have ADHD, your hormones affect your ADHD. So when you are, like, the week or 2 weeks leading up to, your cycle, you're, like, 3 times worse than, say, somebody without, like, ADHD. So all of your brain fog, your memory, your forget, like, everything that you have is even worse. So especially for people, in their perhaps, well, I'm in my late 30s, but also in their 40s, like, when your hormones are changing and things, you'll probably find that you're struggling a lot more. Um, but yeah, when I went to doctors, they sent me to psychiatrists, and luckily I had a really good doctor when I went to my doctors and he said, "Have you ever been tested for ADHD?" He was like, "The fact that you've never been able to read, the fact that you've always forgotten stuff, the fact that you lose everything." And I hadn't even ever thought about ADHD because my little brother's autistic, and I'm like, "But I'm not like David, like, I'm nothing like him," because boys usually display things a bit
differently? Yeah,
but they're not edible about it.
yeah.
Yeah, and then I had, so then I got my letters, like, when I got diagnosed, I had my letters, my NHS letters. So you have to evidence that obviously you've got a disability. It can be, like, even physical, like, I mean, hopefully most people, if you had other disabilities would know about this, but they don't openly tell you about it. So
Yeah. And these grants are available. We need to be able to access this funding, sometimes, especially, we won't go into it, but, like when the budget comes out, we're like, oh, this money and,
yeah, you're very nice taxpayers and everything, like,
but
make use of it.
yeah, but people don't actually know. I feel like this is why I don't like watch the news and stuff because they don't actually talk about this is where your money's going and this is how we can actually put it back into the society and this is how we're actually going to be able to help you and this is how you can access it and this is how you can, it's not
The
actually
thing
that
is,
local.
since I've had that, like, my business has increased, so I'm making the government more money than what that is, because it's gonna go back into my taxes anyway, because I'm gonna be earning more money, because I'm gonna be able to do more business. It's to keep people, like, thriving, basically. Like, they want you.
And no, yeah, and you're helping like people with regardless of their barriers or boundaries or disabilities, you're helping them push past that. And I'm so glad you've been able to come on this show to share it because, um, we couldn't have ended on a much higher note than that. But not only have you shared quite vulnerably and honestly and beautifully your own story, so I thank you for that. You've also given us some practical top tips about getting into later life. You've demystified some of the misconceptions that are with later life. And then finally, on a big note, you've ended on a high about access for, those with ADHD or any other disability to help them continue thriving in their job. So you have been a true embodiment of what a money honey means. That's why we call money honey. You are a woman behind us. Yeah, absolutely. Like, you have absolutely given us more value than we had anticipated. So thank you for that. For everyone who wants to connect and follow Louise's journey, all the links and her bio is in the show notes. So do connect with her on LinkedIn, and do check out the government website, which is just Google, what was it called?
Access to work.
That's it, Access for Work. I just Googled it myself. It's on the government website. It's an easy application process. And of course, if you want to partner up with anybody on later life lending because you can't do it yourself, or you haven't got the capacity or the inclination to do it, then obviously Louise is here to receive and help you with that. So thank you again, Louise. Please stay tuned for the next episodes that's coming out again. Every week we release an episode. And if there's someone that you want to nominate to come on the show, or you want to nominate yourself, please reach out to me. We'd love to hear from you. But for now, I'm Roz, and thank you so much for tuning in this week.